Hello, hello, hello. So we are continuing our reading of the Constitution Annotated Analysis and Interpretation of the United States Constitution, available at https://constitution.congress.gov. And we are diving into Intro.2 Congressional Authorization. This is a continuation on the series I am devoted to the freedom of information, and in 2019, Congress has passed a Constitution Annotated to be available to the public on this website, and we are reading the 2022 edition because it has not been updated in 2023, but they do revisions every 2 years, so maybe we'll be rereading this again come 2024, but I just wanted to get it out of the way so we can read the groundwork and continue to know more about the law of the land that we are implicitly subscribing to without reforming it. So we have to know what we are subscribing to before we know what to reform. We need to know what the system is and how it is designed, so we know whether or not it is broken right now or if it's operating as intended. And if it's operating as intended, we need to know how to break it down, and if it is not operating as intended, we need to know how to reform it and bring it to the attention of the higher-ups and the powers that be. So let's continue doing the reading. So let's go down to scene, and let me click away from here, and then we see Intro.2 Congressional Authorization, Public Law number 91 through 589, 84 Statute 1585 to USC Simoleon sign 168. We gotta learn more about how we read and interpret these laws. Alright, joint resolution. Resolution. Authorizing the preparation and printing of a revised edition of the Constitution of the United States of America, analysis and interpretation of the decennial revised editions thereof, and the biennial cumulative supplements to such revised editions. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, analysis and interpretation, published in 1964 as Senate document number 39, 88th Congress, serves a very useful purpose by supplying essential information not only to the members of Congress, but also to the public at large. So, it's saying, we are continuing the tradition of, what we did in 1964, publishing this for the public at large and for the members of Congress. This is just an extension of that. Whereas such document contains annotations of cases decided by the Supreme Court of the United States to June 22nd of 1964, whereas many cases bearing significantly upon the analysis and interpretation of the Constitution has been decided by the Supreme Court since June 22nd of 1964, whereas Congress, in recognition of the usefulness of this type of document, has in the last half-century since 1913 ordered the preparation and printing of the revised editions of such a document on 6 occasions at intervals from 10 to 14 years, and whereas the continuing usefulness and importance of such a document will be greatly enhanced by revision at shorter intervals on a regular schedule, and thus made more readily available to members of and committees by means of pocket part supplements, now therefore be it resolved by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that the Librarian of Congress shall have prepared 1. A hardbound, revised edition of the Constitution of the United States of America, analysis and interpretation, published as Senate document number 39, 88th Congress, referred to hereafter as Constitution Annotated, which shall contain annotations of decisions of the Supreme Court of the United States of America through the end of October 1971 term of the Supreme Court, construing provisions of the Constitution. And 2, upon the completion of each of the October 1973, October 1975, October 1977, and October 1979 terms of the Supreme Court, a cumulative pocket part supplement to the hardbound revised edition of the Constitution Annotated, prepared pursuant to Clause Number 1, shall contain cumulative annotations of all such decisions rendered by the Supreme Court after the end of October 1971 term. And 3, upon the completion of October 1981 term of the Supreme Court, and upon the completion of each 10th October term of the Supreme Court thereafter, a hardbound decennial completion of each 10th October term of the Supreme Court. Hey, what am I reading again? The Supreme Court thereafter, a hardbound decennial revised edition of the Constitution Annotated, which shall contain annotations of all decisions theretofore rendered by the Supreme Court construing provisions of the Constitution. So basically it's like, look, we've recognized that this is a great thing to have. We want you to make a version that has everything up to these dates, and then we recognize we need to, like, while this is being enacted, we have to cover our ass and get all of these also included, and then we want to set it up for hereafter. We want it to continue to get all these decisions every 10 years. We want a new hardbound version of these. And 4, upon the completion of the October 1983 term of the Supreme Court, and upon the completion of each subsequent October term of the Supreme Court, beginning in an odd number year, the final digit of which is not a 1, a cumulative pocket part supplement to the most recent hardbound decennial revised edition of the Constitution Annotated, which shall contain cumulative annotations of all such decisions rendered by the Supreme Court, which were not included in that hardbound decennial revised edition of the Constitution Annotated. Man, let's see. Let's drink a little bit. Okay. It's a joint resolution to pass all of these. We want new additions, and we want pocket part supplements for any additional things. Not ending in 1. So we didn't get one in 2021, but we'll get one this year. Pocket part supplements, that is, I reckon. Section 2, all hardbound revised editions and all cumulative pocket part supplements shall be printed as Senate documents. Where is Section 1? Where do I see Section 1? I don't know. Section 3, there shall be printed 4,870 additional copies of the hardbound revised editions prepared pursuant to the clause of the first section, and of all cumulative pocket part supplements thereto, of which 2,634 copies shall be for the use of the House of Representatives. 1,236 copies shall be for the use of the Senate, and 1,000 copies shall be for the use of the Joint Committee on Printing. All members of Congress, vice presidents of the United States, and delegates and resident commissioners newly elected subsequent and to the issuance of the hardbound revised edition, prepared pursuant to such clause and prior to such hardbound decennial revised editions, who did not receive a copy of the edition prepared pursuant to such clause, shall upon timely request receive 1 copy of such edition, and then current cumulative pocket part supplements and any further supplements thereto. All members of the Congress, vice presidents of the United States, and the delegates and resident commissioners no longer serving after the issuance of the hardbound revised edition prepared pursuant to such clause, and who received such edition may receive one copy each cumulative pocket part. May receive one copy of each cumulative pocket part supplement thereto upon timely request. So if they get one and they're not longer serving, they can still get that pocket part supplement. Section 4. Let's scroll down. Additional copies of each hardbound decennial revised edition of the cumulative pocket part supplements thereto shall be printed and distributed in accordance with the provisions of any concurrent resolution hereafter adopted with respect thereto. Section 5. There are authorized to be appropriated such sums to remain available until expended as may be necessary to carry out the provisions of this joint resolution. So now they're saying we're able to take money from the people and set it aside for getting all of these copies. So how many copies? There shall be printed 4,870 additional copies of the hardbound revised editions prepared pursuant to Clause 1 of the first section of all cumulative and of all cumulative thereto, of which 2,634 go for the House of Representatives, and 1,236 copies go for the Senate, and 1,000 copies go for the Joint Committee on Printing. That's all important, you know. It's important. It's important. We gotta know it. We have to know. If you don't know, now you know, Mr. President. If you don't know, now you know. Now you know. When we have an intro coming up on the background of the amendments to the Constitution, so stick around. Now you know. Now you know.